Okay, so something huge has just happened for the global economy. US President Donald Trump has announced the steepest American tariffs in a century. This has big implications for businesses and consumers all around the world. We all trade with one another, and this move has just made trading way more expensive. Let's take a step back. What is a tariff? Well, it's a tax on goods and services coming into a country, on imports, and it's typically calculated as a percentage of the value of that good or service. Now, who pays? That's an interesting question. Domestic companies that are importing goods into a country typically pay the tariff, so US companies that are importing goods into the US will pay the tariff to US customs. Importers often then pass that cost on to customers by raising their prices. Trump's tariff plan is sweeping, and it upends the global trading order. He's imposing a minimum 10% tariff on all trading partners, but he's imposing higher rates on dozens of countries that have large trade surpluses with the US. So China, for instance, is being hit with a 34% tariff. That's on top of a 20% tariff that Trump had already imposed. Vietnam is facing a 46% levy and the European Union 20%. The global 10% tariff will go into effect on April 5th, and that's going to be replaced then by those individualised higher tariffs on April 9th. Trump has also introduced a 25% tariff on foreign-made cars and has previously imposed 25% duties on steel and aluminium imports. So why is he doing this? Trump and his advisors argue that decades of trade liberalisation have been bad for the US. They say that the US has been losing out because while its economy was open to trade, other countries have been protecting their own industries. Trump says that by building a tariff wall around the US economy, that will encourage foreign manufacturers and US companies operating abroad to build plants in the US and hire US workers. That all sounds great, so why are financial markets tanking? Tariffs tend to lead to price increases. Those importers tend to pass on the cost of the tariff to their customers. That means inflation or rising prices, which most of us are sick of, and it also puts people off spending, and that's bad for economic growth. Almost all analysts see the end of free trade as a shock to US and global economic growth, and they're going to be revising up the risk of recession. So what happens next? It's not clear how permanent these tariffs are going to be. The White House is saying it's open to horse trading with different countries, so we could be facing months of grueling trade negotiations. And all that uncertainty means it's going to be hard for firms and ordinary people to plan long-term investments. If you think of an example, if you're going to be building a house or doing renovations this year, if the steel that you need is going to cost 25% more, are you going to pay for it, or will you hold off to see how things develop? It's that kind of pause that's bad for businesses, workers, and economies overall.